Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Crash Cinnamon. It's your host McKenna. So it is so windy. It is really, really windy. I'm actually scared to go outside. But nonetheless, hope you've all been well. And thank you for interacting with all the content that I've been putting out lately. And to the new Spotify listeners and followers, welcome to the family, basically. And I'd love to hear your views and, keep the conversation coming. So I want to talk about something that's been happening to me professionally in my work. I have a 9-to-5 here. And I was sharing with a friend and I said, actually, when you work in corporate or in, let's say, your 9-to-5 kind of jobs, especially if you work in the third sector, it's a very gruesome way of finding out just how much you're valued, and your ideas sometimes are not necessarily taken on board for so many reasons. Okay, or you think they have not been taken on board, but actually that's not the case. So what am I talking about? I've been blessed, honestly, to work with major corporations, major companies in my field, and it's been great. It's been wonderful. I've learned a lot. I've really grown as a human being. I'm this type of person who not only, will do research, will network or whatever, will just try and see what can work best for the people we're working with, the group, the organization. I'm that kind of person. I just don't sit for information to come to me or someone to come with an idea and say, this is how we should do things. I'm always bringing something to the table. So every organization I've been at, there's been some sort of undercutting that's happened where my ideas are sold off as somebody else's, or it's packaged in another way and stuff like that. And it's corporate. You share with organization, it no longer becomes your idea. But when it's exactly your idea, your everything, and becomes like a whole banner thing in your organization, it's something that will be rolled out and then your name does not even appear. It looks like even you were never there. So that's been recently happening in this organization I work in, and I'm slowly noticing some things whereby I've been introducing certain organizations, certain networks, and the person who I, chain of command and stuff, share this information, they go and send it off as theirs, and it's been really hard and difficult to come around and understand the reason behind it, especially because this person, we have a good working relationship. It's been one of the best. Like, it's so relaxed and chilled, but why they would do that, I don't know. And really, there's one specific idea that's going to be rolled out and be a huge thing, and it's been packaged as this person's, and everything from the onset to the statistics to how it could work, how we could package it, how it can be run, everything. And it really, 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 really brought me down. And I was like, it took me a while to come up with this idea and concept and, see how it can work. There was a lot of research in it. There was a lot of vulnerability because I had to speak to a few people who this thing would affect so that I can get their consent, so we can have actually proof that, it will affect people's lives and how we can support them and stuff like this. So my question is, have you been in a situation whereby in the workplace you've presented an idea for a project or an idea for an app, you've come up with everything, literally, and the idea has been stolen from you. And wait, maybe you stolen is a harsh word, but it's almost like your sideline. It's like it didn't come from you. It's like you were not even there in that room. And how do you deal with it? How do you move forward? Because I've counted now, it's 7 incidences that have happened. And you see, the thing is, I mean, it's a conundrum, because especially some of the things, the person had to sign them off to say it can be done, so I had to go through them. I couldn't say I can do it on my own, or do somebody, go to somebody else kind of thing. No, it had to be them. So either way, there was no way they would not know that information. The problem is how they were like, oh, let me go through it, let me speak with this person, send me the stats, send me this, and see how feasible it will be, and I'll sell it and see. Yeah, they went and sold it, definitely. Then it comes out as something else. On the flip side, today I was featured on our company's website for some work I had done, which had run for 10 months. And it was such a huge case, and it was very involving. There was a lot of things involved in it, including modern slavery and all kinds of things. And I looked at that story, and the humanity our press team had done, or rather had given this story, and I was just like, God, sometimes it may take so long to get vindicated for the kind of work you do, for the stuff you do, for the passion, the person you are, but somehow it comes full circle, even when you're not planning for it. Like, I didn't know this would happen until I was contacted for my consent and all these things. And I just sat there and I was like, these are the things I've been shouting about. These are things I've been saying, and it's funny. One of my colleagues commented, I don't know how she knows, because I've never voiced this concern to anyone in my workplace, but she said, oh, it's good to see you finally getting the recognition you deserve. And I was like, so there are some people who know, or you've been noticing what's been happening, and just under wraps, and you couldn't say anything, and it just made me feel so good. So what are the practical steps can we take when this happens? I think one of the things I have learned now is be vocal in a way that says, oh yeah, I was able to do this and that. I used to think people talk like that are, brag or just want to be seen and everything. But now when I reflect, when they left the companies I was with or moved on, everybody knew so and so did this and that, and it can never be taken away. Even if their manager approved whatever, or there was funny, it's them. They owned that idea and aspect. So don't be afraid in team meetings, in projects, to say, yeah, I was able to do this. Even if it was a team thing, where you stood out, you stood out. The other thing is when you're doing reviews, and those who work in companies where you do your monthly reviews, or what are they called? The reviews you do every 3 months and then 6 months. And these goals you've met, how have you met that goal? And some goals are linked to the company goals and project goals, things like that. Make sure you annotate it, literally what you've done. I know sometimes we don't want it to be like that. Oh, you don't want to bring attention to yourself, but I have come to see, if you don't do that, that other person is writing it in their own review, that they were able to move, production by 37%, whilst it wasn't them, it was you. So write it out, write a whole essay about it. I'm not saying you exaggerate, but really be kind to yourself. You're the only one who knows the amount of hours it took to brought that piece of work into fruition. Yeah. 3, every so often, remind the people around you, like, remember when I did this or we did this and I suggested this, could we do this again or in a different way? Like, bring a full stop. There are people might think you're full of yourself. There are people who say, oh yeah, there is just a way whereby I'm saying no to being shortchanged in 2023. I'm not saying that we have to be individualistic, no. But when you look at all these inventions that are taking place, when you read about who invented this and all that, who was the founder of this, who came up with this concept, this gadget, there's always a conflict sometimes. Why? Because it was never documented down. It was never written down that actually this person is the one who brought this concept, then this one brought this. And in the long run, it can mean having food on the table. It can mean your name being on a patent. And I know it feels far-fetched, but it is. We're in a world where there's no equality in an equity. You have to fight for it. So I'm just encouraging you, those who are in the workplace, dust yourself off and then come up with a strategy. And it might not be easy, but regain back what is yours and rightfully yours, because you've worked hard. You are not, you didn't come to just chilling in work. You are literally giving of your time. Yeah. So thank you for listening to this episode. If you have more ideas on this topic, let's talk about it. Thank you.